like I have a background in sales, and sales always kind of felt icky to me because it felt like I was convincing someone, and it took some reframing to be like, no, actually, I'm an influencer. I'm influencing,
Mhm.
right? Convincing seems like it's a win lose. It's like my interests, right? And when I say influence, there was a lighter tone to it because it was the idea of like win win, right? It's the idea of like if I knew this would support you, then it would be disservice to me not to share this with you, right? And to lead you and guide you, right? So the influencing piece came in, and in this personal development seminar, it said that like you're either being enrolled or you're enrolling. And what that means is it is an influence. Like every time we're having conversations, there's a air of influence. I'm either being influenced by this person's perspective or I'm influencing this person's perspective to mine. So it's very interesting, right? So that became a game of like, hmm, it put me in this paradigm of like perhaps like to be right, right? To get what I want. And that's dangerous because now it's like I have this ulterior motive underneath it. And when I started studying nonviolent communication, it's a huge paradigm change because what I judged to
Oh, I lost you there for a sec. Oh, now we can't hear you. You were on a roll though, Dre. Definitely.
hear me now.
Yes, definitely.
That was so weird. Technology is interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, we're being interrupted and we're trying to
Like
talk about that today.
the paradigm that I'm in is a domination paradigm. It's a paradigm of control. It's a paradigm of power over. And so I'm naturally in it, right? I'm in the soup. That's just what sales is about. That's what communication is all about. It's about convincing each other. It's about being right. It's kind of like political debates, right? It's about talking about anything and trying to convince someone on the other side because I'm in that paradigm. And so I'm like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that until Marshall Rosenberg, the creator of nonviolent communication, brought this paradigm of like power with, or how can we make life more wonderful? I'm like, huh? That was a total foreign concept to me, man. So I'd like to, toss it back to you and hear your thoughts about like, what are your goals and motivations and eventually come together on that thread of how can you make life more wonderful? And then communicating from that place and the difference, right? The difference between that and this paradigm I learned growing up.
Right. You shared a lot of concepts I hadn't thought of going back to if I were to imagine infancy. I need my food, I need some affection, love, warmth, whatever it is
Yeah.
that I need. So we communicate.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. For cries, yeah.
Yeah.
Bringing me up to speed like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I know you're a top enroller,
Hmm.
BNI business, and
Yeah.
Toastmasters, and they teach
ASI
you all these
seminars.
ways to speak and be enrolling.
Yeah.
Which, if I were to guess, the goal is to be the best, to be on top. If you're the top enroller, people always encourage people. Things are gamified to be on top. There's this competition.
Mm.
Um, we want to look good for people. We want people to perceive us as
Mhm.
good people or attractive people or worthwhile people to hang out with, the cool crowd. So there's so many ways that we communicate for different reasons. Naomi says sometimes I want to feel less alone. And you're right. Marshall Rosenberg came up with the concept of why don't we communicate to make life more wonderful, to have power with, And when it comes down to it for me, it's really about connection. It's about understanding why I'm here on the planet through the reflection of other people for me. If I find people are cold or transactional, um, which I've had an experience of in the last little while, it really makes me feel disheartened, less alive. And so communication is an invitation to what makes me feel alive. I guess in Marshall's way, what makes life more wonderful for all of us? How do we have power with in a way that makes us all feel alive?
Mm,
Isn't that what we want, is to feel joy, to have creativity, to um, mourn, to grieve, to know the breadth and joy of everything that it means to be human. Um, and I get emotional just saying that. To feel. I guess the real reason for me to communicate is to feel.
mm,
Yeah, to know more about source or life itself,
mm,
to learn, to engage, to soak in. I guess it's
mm,
also for meaning, for collaboration, um, to discern truth as far as I can discern it,
mm.
also for healing. I find a lot of communications I'm having lately deeply uh, insightful, deeply healing, deeply heartfelt. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel all of that. I get so much insights about myself through communicating and through others. And then through others, it's through myself. It's like reciprocal. You know, the more I communicate, the more I know myself, the more I get to know you, the more I know myself. Like it's all a reflection back to me, really. It's like I'm gathering data about me when I get to know you, how I respond or react to you, or how do I relate to your experiences, right? Am I actually really getting to know you, Summer? Like when I communicate with you, I'm making this realization. No, I'm actually getting to know myself through you.
Mm.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's a projection. I'm projecting out. All of it is like what I'm interpreting. And are we on the same page? Mhm. Yeah. And I love how you said to feel, to connect to life. Um, that's the essence of communication, isn't it? And I'm landing on. That's like, ah, when I communicate, I heal, I grow, I learn. It's how my
Wow.
mind interacts with, well, it seems like you got a little knot there you like to talk about. Um, um, though for me, I want to bring it back to this depth because moving from sales, right, of like this paradigm of having to convince to now convincing myself that's a win-win. I saw myself using the ability to convince in a win-win where I'm here creating a vision. Like imagine an evangelist, right? An evangelist sells a vision and pulls people in, right? And of course, the reason why they make a lot of money, they get a lot of influence is because they're tapping into people's needs through that vision, you know? And so when I'm in this enrollment energy, I'm in this like vision evangelist energy of like, this is it. I remember when I started my men's group and I was in this energy, is like people were just attracted to it. But here's the thing though, because I'm actually pulling them in, and the question is, am I aware of their needs? Or am I just this vision and it's about me and it's about this group and it's about this God and it's about this religion. And taking it a step further is actually supporting them to discover what their needs are so that they become consciously aware of that it is a win-win and they're not just drinking the Kool-Aid. They're not just being in that high of like, I'm speaking a vision and they're being pulled into it and not being aware of why they're being pulled into it is what I'm saying. Because that gives me the power to determine what's a win-win for you and I. And I can see there's a lot of sales going on in influence where I know what's good for you. And so I'm going to share this and in a way tell you that this is going to be a win for you because of this and this and this and this and this and this. Right. Now, if I'm not really clear on making that clear for you to understand what your needs are, then it still seems like a power dynamic there. I don't know. I'm just playing with this concept. So, what I'd like to now evolve my communication to is like helping that person I'm communicating with and getting clear on what they want and need. So then they're choosing themselves. They have the sovereignty to choose in if they want to collaborate, they want to work with me, then it's a true win win. You know what I'm saying? It's all like I'm just preaching a vision and you're coming along for the ride. But I'm like, hey, 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 why are you coming along for the ride? You know, are we both rowing the boat here? Is what I'm saying. Are we both leading the way versus you giving your power away to me because I'm in front of the room, you know?
Mm.
I have the vision. Right? Right? You're putting me on a pedestal unconsciously. And you know what? You're also looking for me to save you. Ooh, unconsciously. So this is the danger of having the power of having such influential communication is that when I disregard your needs and your sovereignty, there might be the case where I'm getting your power and I'm getting power drunk and I feel good about it. And there's this idea that I'm going to save you and you're looking to me, right? To save you.
Hmm. This
So,
this sounds like it's slipping into a almost conversation, I guess, about cults or religions in a way. I'm curious because Naomi just put something up, and I, for whatever reason, on my screen it's cut off halfway, so I can't even read it. Can you prop it up?
oh, okay. Yeah. Pop it up here. Naomi says, yeah, when someone will communicate their heart back to me, I feel so alive and in tune with the inside of them and the inside of me. I feel ecstatic sometimes because we can be in flow in tune.
Mm.
Mm. I think that's a part of like, yeah, see myself in them and vice versa
Right.
when I
And I think
communicate.
that's maybe the difference between what you're talking about because, you know, you've got control over the room, people look to you and yeah, some people do unconsciously look to others to save them versus believing that they have the power. And I remember talking to someone who was involved in what I would might judge a cult and they asked me what I thought about it and I just said to them I the only question I have is whether that person at the front of the room takes or gives back people's power. And I could tell by the look on his face, he was like, "Uh-oh." He knew the answer that his power was taken away, and he um, looked too much to this one person to solve too many things. And when that happens, you're right. There's so many examples of those types of things when someone has a lot of power and people just follow them rather than the reciprocity and people knowing that what they have is worthwhile. And like Naomi said, and you said, that mirror, or even what namaste means, I see the God in you sees the God in me, and vice versa.
Mm. Yeah, and that to me like lands so like hard for me at this moment because our whole like intention of this is like getting resource, meaning like kind of resourcing the power within myself. It's about freedom, it's about sovereignty, right? And so where am I outsourcing that, giving that power away? Where am I putting others in pedestals or looking for others to save me? Because then I was shared with this concept of accountability, right?
Oh.
And when I think about accountability, there's a lot of like me like I want you to hold me accountable. And underneath that though, that's like I want you to save me, in short, to make sure that I'm doing the things rather than self accountability, developing the skills to lead myself, to be accountable to myself. Because at the end of the day, who's with me 24/7? Me. What really matters is behind closed doors when no one is watching, no one is looking. So that's the skill to cultivate is knowing myself, right? And that's through communicating with myself, communicating with others, communicating ways that are open and vulnerable and authentic. Because now then I shine light on what's running me. Because if I don't put light to it, don't put words to it, then it's running in the background.
Hmm. Wow, there's some really poignant things you just said. Two of them. One was accountability, because I remember in the not too distant past you saying, Summer, I want you to hold me accountable for this. And I would be like, oh, no, I don't want to
Yeah.
hold you accountable for anything. No, thank you. I don't want that job. Um, and I know people have
Mm.
accountability partners and things like that. And it's never sit well with me. So that's a new thing I've just heard from you, which I actually appreciate, that idea that we do need to be self accountable. And the most important thing is, yeah, what do we do behind closed doors? Most people, they think they have dirty laundry, or they do other things that they don't want to share with others. Um, and I think maybe the point of communication should be the same whether we're talking to ourselves or to anyone else. How do we berate ourselves? What do we think of ourselves? How do we judge ourselves? Often, and we, in our classes, people are like, yeah, I'm way nicer to people than I am to myself. And what would a world be like if the way we communicated to God, to ourselves, to each other was the same? What would that look like? I don't know the answer to that. But I think well, maybe I have some. Uh,
Well, the word comes to mind is nourishing.
uh,
It's refreshing. It's generative. It's
hmm.
meaningful. It's expansive because truth is being illuminated.
Yeah, I think another word that I would put in there is vulnerability, transparency, authenticity, integrity.